is waiting for you to start the podcast.
We should be started.
Nope.
Well, OBS says we're streaming.
And there we go. Oh, there it is. It's glorious.
Oh my God!
It's wonderful. We're back on the air.
And since we're late, because I was messing around with the thing.
I think you owe everyone an apology and say that you'll never do it again.
Well, I don't want to make promises I can't keep. But we can go ahead and do this. Maybe.
Bombs and bands.
So hit it.
Bombs and bands.
All systems go.
Bombs and bands.
Maybe.
Defiance.
Bombs and bands.
This rebel has a cause.
Bombs and bands.
We begin as one.
Maybe.
And we are one.
Oh, I see it, but I don't hear it.
Now you should be hearing it.
I hear it.
See, I've forgotten how to do this. It's been so long.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to the 100 episode 115A, the live edition of Bombs and Bants and Wednesday Rants. As always, I'm your dedicated and humble host, John Wilder, coming to you from the penthouse control room of the majestic Wilder Industries skyscraper. With us, as always, is Mark.
Hey, everyone.
And back from intensive care in the dead, the missus.
That's right.
That's why we keep you in the deep bunker.
I know.
All
Wrapped in
right.
tissue paper and kept in Tupperware.
Yes, indeed. Jim says the audio is pretty quiet, so you might want to heighten things up.
Is that a little better?
Well, we'll see. I'm sure that we have multiple listeners already on. I'm sure what everyone is wanting to know is, was it Ebola? Because you can't say, COVID. So was it Ebola?
It was scurvy.
It was scurvy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was prescribed some medicinal cheese, and I feel much better now.
Rickets. It was rickets.
Yes.
And I thought it was going to be something exciting, like you had some sort of fungal infection, and then it took over your body and you became a zombie. And
Well, no, that would have led to, death and such. And Jim Wetzel notes the voices were fine. It's the intro audio that was quiet. So that was his.
Oh, because
his
I didn't have
comment.
it turned up very loud. The stuff I normally do, I forgot to do because it's been forever since I've been here. Yeah, so I didn't get all my audio fixed before we started.
And Jim Wetzel
My
notes,
fault.
Willie Cully notes, he's a little late. Forgot how to what? It's been so long.
Exactly. I forgot how to what?
And Tim Turner's here. Hello. The link doesn't seem to always bring us here, but welcome back, the missus. So welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome back. And the missus is back, and I'll just give a couple of details, and nothing too detaily. Is the healing was phenomenal. So the doctors, I'll just say it involved the lungs, and the doctors are like, well, it wasn't pneumonia, so that's good news because
I've baffled medical science. Yay me.
Yes. Well, the good news is they're going to name a disease after you.
Probably.
The Mrs. Syndrome.
That's it.
And so anyway, the good news is that you're back to nearly perfect function in like a week. And the reason we haven't been able to do it here is because we've been, when you go to the hospital for 4 days, whether or not you're in the hospital or forced to be riding vinyl, it tires you out. And so we're back. I'm gonna warn. And Jim Wetzel notes, so glad that you're here. And it's not talking to me. You know that. He's not talking to me. But I will note that we're tired.
Well, everyone knows that when Jim flatters me, he gets this.
Massive cannibalism.
Yeah, and there we go. And just noting, if we're not here next week, the reason we're not here next week has nothing to do with the missus catching Ebola again. It would have entirely to do with us watching Pugsley at his dolphin rodeo. So that'd be there.
Have we gone
And
from
Mark?
origami to good dolphin rodeo?
So Mark, with the missus being all dramatic and in trying to steal the show, what happened with you
Me? Oh,
in the last
no.
month, man?
I spent my Wednesday evenings watching television.
So in other words, you spent them,
The
spent
way
them more
normal people
productively.
do. Yes, and more productive than normal.
I know my
Yeah.
family's like, what? What are you doing out here? You're not supposed to be here.
So what was the favorite show you watched while we were on hiatus?
I don't know. We're watching a bunch of like we decided to go back. I've never watched the Supernatural series, so we're watching that and just a few other streaming. Reacher, watched that while I was.
We finished that. The missus gave up after the sniper. She said, "I don't believe it."
Well, okay, I could not buy the spoiler alert if you haven't seen season 2.
Well, this is not
Spoilers-
spoiler.
spoilers
It's just a
forthcoming.
thing that happens.
The scene where they're at the cemetery at the funeral and the snipers come out and they're like, what, 50 feet from them? These are professional snipers. And they miss. They didn't hit anybody.
Meanwhile, Reacher and his crew with pistols
Yes,
can
takes them out
shoot
with
2.5 miles.
And I just went, I'm out.
Yeah.
That's it for me. I can only suspend my disbelief so much.
Well, it's really kind of hilarious that I've shot a lot more put a lot more rounds downrange than the missus during our lives, and she just sees this. She just sees the firearms part and says it's not real, and just walks off and says, "I'm done with this show." It's kind of hilarious. I
Well,
love it.
but the firearms part, that's kind of a big part of the show. They're supposed to be these hot dog, top-notch military guys.
Well, not the mooks that are trying to kill Reacher.
But they're professional snipers, and one would think if you're going to hang out your shingle and say, "Hey, bad guys, hire me because I can snipe people for you," you'd want to hit what you were aiming at when you're
Maybe
50
they were-
feet away.
Maybe they were picked up in the parking lot
That's
at Home
possible.
Depot, huh?
It was their first
I,
job.
yeah,
Yeah.
People,
I think they were. I think they were supposed to be discount.
they were trying to import people to do jobs Americans wouldn't do.
That's it.
Right?
That's right.
Okay, well that'll part go. A little
Well,
bit further
it just demonstrates that you need to zero your rifle first.
down. Mhm.
That's
There you go.
probably it. That's probably what happened.
And everyone has to admit, feels good to be back in the chair. And I've got to say that too. Got some folks watching now. We need to talk more on the thing, but wonderful to have you guys back as well. Feels good. All right.
Oh, so by the way, before we get started into whatever thing we're doing, because I did promise in the description of tonight's podcast that we are back from hiatus. So the hijinks are back, the shenanigans are back. But I said there will be no, and I repeat, I must emphasize this: there will be no reindeer games. But
What
I
about
gotta,
Molly?
but I gotta go back on that promise.
Oh, reindeer games.
And here we go with the reindeer games. I'm sorry, they were cute, so we had to
And
have some
so-
reindeer games.
So lollygagging
Yes,
is in.
lollygagging
what-
is acceptable.
What about mollycoddling?
Absolutely,
Okay.
all
All
about
right.
the mollycoddling.
Well, let's jump right into it. Do you have any news for us, or did you completely not do that?
Me?
Yes.
No, I completely.
I have plenty of content for the night. So let's take us in to Think Real Fast.
You always put these in different order. Why you do this to me?
Well, because you can't just go straight to the jackass.
Think real fast.
No, but we
right.
always in the past do Conversation Street first.
Well, but we'll do what we'll do
I know, we'll
is
do that last, and then we'll come back around and do the next part of it second,
right.
but also last.
Well, so we'll do that. We'll do Think Real Fast. Then we'll move into Jackass. We'll do Conversation Street and finish up with Think Real Fast. Okay.
So we're going to do Think
Breaking
Real
news,
Fast
please.
twice.
Yes. I got a lot of Think Real Fast.
Okay.
Breaking news, please.
See, I don't even remember where all these things are because it's been so long.
Breaking news.
These last 5 stories are breaking news. Some of them just minutes old. Seriously, we'll start off with one that's not minutes old. It's hours old. But constant crisis is brewing as the Biden is doing on the border. The Supreme said the razor wire could be cut by the Border Patrol, but they'll never cut my heart. Texas responded by calling more razor wire up, invoking the right of Texas to protect itself from invasion, and invoking the Constitution of Texas to act. Mark, are you going to enlist?
Enlist? I'm not a Texan, so I can't enlist.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's
whatever.
more of that coming. You will, you may be by tomorrow morning.
Okay.
I guess the related question I got for you, Mark, if Trump wins, does this mean the machine gun nests can go up?
I hope so. And
Okay.
flamethrowers. Gotta have flamethrowers.
All right. The missus, would Biden mobilize the army to fight the National Guard? And if he does, can we get that on pay-per-view?
The fact is that I don't remember.
Well, I mean, first he would probably try to federalize the National Guard down there. I mean, invoke some sort of whatever emergency they need to do so that they
Keep in mind,
come under
Texas,
federal control.
Texas has a Texas State Guard, which has no federal control.
That's true, but they're not the ones that currently have been called up.
And the commander of the Texas National Guard serves at the pleasure of the governor. Well, we know that because Oklahoma recently dismissed theirs. So
I haven't heard that. Okay.
Yes, indeed. So we have a big constitutional crisis brewing. And with the missus, you never asked, will this be on pay-per-view?
It probably should be. I mean, enough people will probably watch it.
Okay.
But I guess
here's
what I
some.
don't
Well, we know-
understand. I guess what
We
I
know
don't
that
understand-
Rachel Maddow or whatever she's called from MSNBC would probably not cover it though.
Oh, that's coming up.
All right. So
We'll talk more about that in a little bit.
finish your thoughts, the
What?
missus.
What was I going to say? Oh,
You-
no. The whole sanctuary city thing. Remember when, back when Trump was president, the guy who's going to be president again, back when he was president, and all those cities said, well, we're just not going to hold people for, Border Patrol or DH or whatever the hell it is. I don't know. What's even their name now? The people who enforce the border? Not ICE. Is it ICE?
It's vanilla ice baby, too cold. All right, the next question for
Are
Think
you
Real
just
Fast.
not even going to let me continue that?
Oh no, please do. I thought you were not.
I was asking you a question. What are they called? Is it ICE?
Ice
Yeah.
baby.
And the sanctuary
cold.
cities wouldn't hold people who are supposed to be deported for ICE. Well, we're sanctuary cities and we're just not going to do it, and you can't make us. Where were the courts then? Stepping in and say, yes, the federal government controls the borders and deportations. You have to turn these people over. Where were the courts?
All right.
Oh, well,
Very
it's
much so.
Trump, so I guess it's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Because we'll tear down all our institutions as long as it stops Trump. Right?
Absolutely.
Dumbass.
And which brings us to the second one, which is absolutely, totally, and completely related. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt says Oklahoma stands with Texas. The missus, when will Texas rename a border town Fort Sumter?
Well, that may be in the works.
Mark, how come Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt can say Oklahoma stands with Texas when Greg Abbott can't stand for Texas?
Oh,
That's a wheelchair
that's a
joke.
that's a shot below
Okay.
the belt, man. But you wouldn't feel, so it's okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Hey,
You
when
can
our
punch
na-
him in the groin all day long; he'll never notice.
just get your arms tired.
Yeah, that's his superpower.
Okay.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Frankly, I was surprised to see that Texas is going to install even more razor wire, but
There's more breaking news. Ron DeSantis notes that Florida
Oh wait,
stands
I'm
with
sorry.
Texas.
I have to throw a flag on that if there's more breaking news.
This is all breaking news. Yeah.
Breaking news.
Ron DeSantis notes that Florida stands with Texas as well. The missus, aren't we too united as a country for a civil war to happen? I mean, all I see are just happy people normally conversing. That's what all the riots are about, right?
Right. No, only people on the right riot. People on the left protest in a mostly peaceful manner. You know, like when those pro-Palestinian people, protested at the White House, outside the White House a couple weeks ago. I don't really remember because the medicinal cheese fogs my brain. So it was sometime while we were not doing the podcast,
Yeah,
which for all I know could have been a year. I'm sorry, am I dreaming this or am I asleep right now?
Now they're going to think I kept you chained in the basement. Hi on.
Well, you know,
medicinal
the real
cheese.
question, the real question for all of this is whether Texas, Oklahoma, or Florida have F-15s. Because remember, Biden said that you couldn't defeat an advanced military without F-15s.
I'm going to laugh in Taliban at that.
Right. Look
Mark,
how poorly the insurgency in Iraq did against the military.
Well,
Mark?
like-
Mark, I have this is my question for you, Mark. All right. Given that Epstein was a resident of Florida, my question is, what will the age of consent be in the new nation?
in which
The new nation.
the
You
new
know.
nation?
When it's starting with Texas getting ready to
Oh,
secede.
So are we
the
gonna,
age of consent. I don't. 21
the age of
is where it should
21. 43 as God intended.
be.
Okay. I need another breaking news.
Yeah, but the question is, are we going to call it Texida or Florida-ass?
And neither. We're going to call that the United States of America. Give me another breaking news, Sandra, because I got more.
Breaking news.
This just in, South Dakota also stands with Texas. And not some kid named Dakota, the actual state. And this is so new, I don't even have questions for this one. We are just a few steps away from stuff going fully hot. Thoughts?
Well, geez, interesting times. I hadn't even I'd heard about the Texas thing. I had not heard about all these others. So this will be
That's
interesting.
why we're
They're
like actual
going to-
news.
Yeah, well, I mean, the ball's sort of in Biden's court right now. I mean, what's he going to do? Is he going to send federal troops down, pretend that he's, desegregating schools or something? I don't know.
The missus, you got any thought? This is the totality of it. I don't have any more right now, but I'm checking.
The totality of what? I'm not following what you're talking about. I
Oh,
missed
these
that.
stories.
I was looking at something else. I'm sorry. I was distracted.
Oh, it's just so boring. You guys are
yeah,
so
I'm
boring.
sorry. I'm sorry. You guys are just so boring.
Senator, this just in. Senator Rick Scott says if Joe Biden can't secure the border, we need to close it until we have a president who will. Again, that just requires troops. How many troops does Congress have? None.
Yeah, I know. And Congress has given away all of their oversight powers over the years. So,
Mhm.
Well,
I
their
just-
I mean-
primary job right now is just to get reelected. They don't really care about what's going
I mean,
on in
in
the
the-
country.
and frankly, this whole situation is exactly what the left's wanted. I mean, they've been lusting for some sort of revolution so they can impose their whatever fractured, twisted version of government they think should be over the U.S. Since the 1960s and 70s. So, I mean, this is. That was the whole basis of the what is it, Cloward-Piven plan or whatever.
Cloward Piven, yes.
Yeah, Piven, and was to make the system collapse, and in my mind, I think that's what the the original plan was, to overwhelm welfare by signing up so many people who would just collapse it and so forth. I think this one, they decided it was going to be immigration. They were just going to so overwhelm the country with immigrants that they would be able to crash stuff.
Yep, yep, and I think actually what Abbott has done, which is a little bit of a stroke of genius, is he cloud pivoted them by sending off all the you want these immigrants, take them in these red cities that will never vote for, and he sent them to leftist red cities and leftist red cities, blue cities, leftist blue cities, and leftist blue states. So. And speaking of leftists, and speaking of blue states, New Hampshire is done, and Nikki Haley isn't the one. Trump takes New Hampshire easily. Democrats complain he didn't get 100%. He's not popular because they didn't get all the votes.
I'm just
The
reading
missus-
a piece in the Wall Street Journal about this. And where was it? Mr. Trump's roughly 11-point victory was less than most recent polls show, and Ms. Haley's strength with independent voters revealed a howling weakness for Mr. Trump if he is the GOP nominee. And I think to myself, independent voters, that's a weird way to spell Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yes.
that's what happened. They all changed their party affiliation to cross the lines and vote for Haley.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why might
So-
Democrats want Haley to run instead of Trump?
So how long until Hickey Neely hears na 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 na, hey Hickey, goodbye? How close are we to that, the missus?
I don't know. She's given us, we're just getting started. But if you aren't getting campaign donations coming in, which makes me wonder, where's that money coming from? I mean, it's got to be coming from, it's coming from the anti-Trumpers on the right, but I'm sure she's getting money from the left too, because again, the Democrats want her to be the nominee. Now, she's not going to beat Trump. He's like he's the first candidate in history to win both Iowa and New Hampshire.
There you go.
And he
And,
didn't just win them, he wiped the floor with Haley. She came in third in Iowa. And the only reason she came in second in New Hampshire is because DeSantis quit.
So Jim Wetzel notes, yes, the Nimrata Randhawa juggernaut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Mark,
Well,
will you
Hickey-
miss her? Will you miss her?
No, I won't. She's sort of the epitome of a rhino. I mean, she's pro-immigration. She's pro-shipping, whatever industrial capacity the U.S. has overseas. Bringing in the jobs that Americans will do if they get paid a decent wage.
She's a neocon, the same flavor as Bush.
Yeah,
Both
yeah,
of them.
I know, and that's the other thing. She probably would. Yeah, she would just continue the neocon/Democrat war juggernaut. So
And people who at least lean to the left can't understand that's why people who are voting for Trump are voting for him instead of her. It has nothing to do with the fact that she's Indian. No one cares. We're the Merit Party. And has everything to do with the fact that she's a neocon. All this soft conservatism that has proven to do nothing but give Democrats more of an edge over the Republican Party, those are the things she's for. Do we need more of that? We could get Jeb Bush to run and get that.
Please do not redeem. Please do not redeem.
Please clap. Yeah,
Please clap.
so. I think we've covered it.
interesting.
Well, okay. So, are we ready for Jackass of the Week?
Are we ready for that? Yeah.
Are you
sure,
ready?
I guess we are.
This is Neil Young,
Hey, get that jackass out of here!
and I'm proud to present my braying jackass of the week.
So you like the Jackass music?
Mm-hmm.
It's very
This
regal.
is all you. I've got nothing. So
It is on me, and I don't even have anything in front of me either. But this first bunch of jackasses, and I don't want to sully the waters by calling them that, but I really have no better name for them, are these bunch of nincompoops who showed up in Park City, Utah to protest for pro-Palestinian measures outside of the Sundance Film Festival. So here they are. And I have to apologize for the audio on that. They're chanting the usual pro-Palestinian, from the river to the sea. Palestine must be free. Yes. So they're doing that outside the Sundance Film Festival. And I guess they're really jackasses. I mean, they are to begin with. But because whose minds are they there to change? They're outside of a film festival populated by liberal Democrats.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
And what happened?
Nothing. They're outside a film festival populated by liberal Democrats. They just felt guilty and, went about shopping on the Rodeo Drive of Utah. No
All
one
right.
cared because everyone there agrees with them.
So number one is protesters.
Yes.
Who's number two?
Well, I
Oh,
mean,
go ahead.
it is an industry that's dominated by a certain ethno-religious group. Speaking of Hollywood, so
Yeah,
they might be there to intimidate.
Those are the self-haters.
They might be
though,
there
right?
to intimidate people.
Okay.
But but I have to admit, in the end, it's just sort of funny to me, and in one way, but another way, I just don't care because it's just blue on blue infighting, and so the country's better off for it.
All right. Well, bring us to number two.
All right. Number two is this young man. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. That's Rachel Maddow. And then Mark alluded to this earlier, so here's the clip. And this was after, I believe, Iowa, when Trump was giving his victory speech.
At this point in the evening, the projected winner of the Iowa caucuses has just started giving his victory speech. We will keep an eye on that as it happens. We will let you know if there's any news made in that speech, if there's anything noteworthy, something substantive and important. The reason I'm saying this is, of course, there is a reason that we and other news organizations have generally stopped giving an unfiltered live platform to remarks by former President Trump. It is not out of spite. It is not a decision that we relish. It is a decision that we regularly revisit. And honestly, this is not an easy decision.
This is like the easiest one for me
It pains
ever.
her so to not be able to run his speeches. Pain. Can you hear?
You can't
her
even
voice?
name him. That's the
I know.
funny part.
That's the hilarious part, is that nobody on the left can. They just have to call him
Lord
45.
Voldemort.
Yes, exactly. Because they're all children, and they all live in the little Harry Potter world.
Well, hey, I probably got blocked by Kai Rosdahl. Oh, no, not yet. I would expect that I would be. All right, Mark.
Well, I'm
No, on three, number one or number two. We're going to do it at the same time. 1, 2, 2.
2. Yeah.
2.
2.
2.
2.
Yes, she is number 2.
Well, because the other little nimrods here, they're young. They have an excuse, right? And I should have gotten the image that was a more of a close-up of the crowd. Guess who the number one sex and ethnicity is of the protesters? Can you guess? I bet you can guess them both right off the top of your head.
I am going to guess white women.
Yes! Bingo! Congratulations. You get the ding and the clap, too.
Indeed.
That makes it sound like you spent the weekend in Tijuana.
Or the Holmes.
Yeah. Well, like I said before, I mean, I have a hard time really caring about leftists, attacking leftists. So.
Right. It's kind of just desserts.
It is.
So we really need to make an award so we can send one to Mr. Maddow. Sorry. And this has been the Brain Jackass of the Week. I'm sorry. I don't mean to misgender her. I should stop doing that. But I mean, I just go, that's a drag queen. Oh no, it's just me, Rachel Maddow. I'm sorry.
Well, she did.
I can't tell.
She just started that one episode of Al My Balls.
So
all right.
Did
she was
broadcast
Go ahead.
I was going to say, did she broadcast a statement from that loser that only got 55% of the New Hampshire vote?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I was just going to say that she and Lloyd Austin got to be pretty close when they were sharing a room together when they both had their prostate surgery.
So did you do the outro for Jackass
I did.
of the
I
Week?
just did it. Yeah.
Okay. So can you do the intro for Conversation Street?
Oh, that's the visual.
And now it's
That's
time
just
for
Ryan
us to take
talking.
down the smooth sidewalks of Conversation Street.
So I have one simple question for Conversation Street this week. If gay men hire women to have a baby for them, isn't that just the Handmaid's Tale that the leftists hate, but with extra steps?
Yes.
It would seem that way, but there's no rhyme nor reason to their logic.
Actually, I mean, you sort of saw the same thing with the most recent. Oh shoot! Now my mind went blank. That's terrible. I hate it when it does that. Mad Max movie. He had a gay director that created a movie about a bunch of men in leather with breeders, essentially.
Yes. So is the director of that gay?
Yeah.
A little. Well, that might explain all the leather.
It seems to be I don't know. It seems to be some common theme, I think, running there. But
Oh, the message, you got anything to add to that? Having the only one here who's actually had a baby. I mean, it looked like
what
I'm
was the
going to have
question
one.
again? What was the question again?
If gay men hire women to have a baby for them, isn't that just The Handmaid's Tale but with extra steps?
Yeah, I just find the whole surrogacy thing odd. And I mean, I guess I understand if you're someone who's like, well, I need some money and I can get a lot of money if I just have this baby, but I don't understand actually having a baby and then just saying to someone else, okay, here you go, all yours.
So,
Because that's a lot of work.
So when we were,
It's a
when we
lot
were,
of work.
when we were relatively newly married, and this is how I think of gay men having children. We had a little dog, and I would sometimes hold the dog's snout up to my chest and go, "Snoopy, why won't you eat? Why won't you eat?"
It was
And
very funny. Always made me laugh.
very funny, because that's just as ludicrous as two men having a baby. Okay, ready to wander back to Think Real Fast.
Oh, sure.
Think real fast.
You know, this may be the episode that gets kicked off of YouTube for good.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize that. Yeah, well, I guess it happens.
This
The
has been
aptly
bottled up for way too long.
yeah, the aptly named Senator Weiner from California wants to make sure that cars never ever speed again by adding an electrical governor. Mark, does California try to stick a Weiner in everything?
yeah, pretty much. They've messed up most of our products for the last 30 or 40 years. So
The missus think his first name is Dick.
Yes, I do. But I was wondering, why are they worried about an electrical governor when the one they have is already made out of wax?
Oh,
They're fine with that.
wax and ego.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Arizona Republican Chair Jeff DeWitt resigned. Why? Audio of him attempting to bribe Arizona politician Carrie Lake to stay out of politics emerges. Bribe her with lots of money. When from some people back east who had lots of money that were going to shove it in Carrie's mouth if she just never ran again. When confronted, DeWitt didn't deny, just noted he thought Carrie was a friend and wouldn't tape him. The missus, how much would they have to pay you not to run for governor?
Were you accused of a crime someone else noticed? What was he thinking?
I know, right? We cruise or crime someone else does. That's one of my favorites. Um,
We have to get that soundbite to
yeah.
pull that one up.
So Mark, who's fronting the cash? Who are the people back east that want Carrie Lake to shut up and just live with millions of dollars? Because this is the millions of dollar level type of bribe.
Uh, I don't know. I mean, the Koch brothers comes to mind, but
No, I don't see
if
that
it was
name.
within the Republican Party,
It
if
was
you're
back
looking
east.
outside the Republican Party, huh?
It was back east.
Back east. Yeah.
It's a mystery that'll never be solved. We'll never know.
Mystery never solved. I like it. Um, okay. Argentina. These were written for the original 115. But I looked at them and said, this is still some good stuff that it's not frontline news and people might have missed. So these are we're heading with this last little batch of Think Real Fast. Argentina announces a 50% devaluation of its currency. Mark, is adopting cannibalism next on the agenda?
If they get hungry enough.
Massive
I thought
cannibalism.
he was gonna just ditch the currency anyway and just go use the US dollar.
Well, again, this was last month, right? So, the missus, when will Argentina attack the Falkland Islands again?
Wait, Argentina attacked the Falkland Islands?
Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Tuesday.
All right. And then our president will come out and say to Argentina, I just have one word for you.
And Jim noted that I used the word cannibalism and you did not.
I did.
Just
I
now.
did.
Massive
I did
cannibalism.
play it.
Okay. So my thoughts are, if Argentina was smart, they would just send over boatloads of women and children and, say, oh, these are all refugees from Argentina until they had a 90%. Why not do that? Seems to be working here.
That's probably
Oh,
not.
they don't
Right.
even have to send over women and children. They can send military-aged men over.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like Great Britain's doing anything to stop the immigrants that are boating over from France.
All right, next one. Say it isn't so. Disney is dying of diversity, which is also their strength, I guess. Disney CEO Bob Iger announced that we have to entertain first. It's not about sending messages. Mark, is this just dialing down the temperature in the pot while still trying to boil the water?
Well, I guess that's one way you could put it. I figured it was just another distraction or lie. I mean, I think he's trying to appease some of his stockholders, but we know it isn't going to change. And even if it did change, it would still take several years to work through the system there as they're pumping out, because they've got movies and stuff that are already in the pipeline.
All right. The missus, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If they want diversity, why isn't Dwayne Johnson a Disney princess?
Because nobody's asked him yet.
I'm The Rock. Yeah, the thing I hate about The Rock is, his voice is so bland and boring, it's hard to imitate. I mean, he doesn't sound like anything.
Yeah.
And Jim Wetzel notes, Disney is dead, no resurrection. Not even on the third shareholder report. All right.
Well, it's just too little, too late.
This ties in with my post today. If you haven't read my post today, or it was really good, is Soylent Green soon to be seen? Tyson Foods just announced an agreement investing in insect ingredients company Protix to, and I quote, scale production of insect ingredients. Mark, if we're good in our pods, does that mean we get an extra helping of grasshopper paste?
If your social credit score is high enough, yes.
The missus, why doesn't Tyson announce that they've got a great technology to turn insects into food? You know, chickens.
Well, because they like to tie the chickens' feet together and hang them upside down. I don't know, something that people protest Tyson for. I don't
Oh,
really know.
is it all the illegals that they bring into?
That's
No,
probably no. I know that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. So without implants, Elon would be bald, and because of crashes, lots of Teslas have been recalled. See what I did there? To fix their autopilot. Mark, what's the problem with having a Nintendo drive your car? They always beat me in Mario Kart.
Yeah, but they cheat.
The missus, is driving a car really more difficult than chess? If so, why are women allowed to do it?
Is driving a car like what?
All right, let me give you the complete question. Is driving a car really more difficult than chess? And if so, why are women allowed to do it?
Oh, because somebody has to take the kids to and from school, and it's certainly not going to be you. Okay, so this is a true story. This goes back to when the boy was in high school. Okay, so he was the one that went through high school first. Later, Pugsley went through high school. And because I was working when Pugsley started high school, but not when the boy started high school, I don't think. My schedule was different. But anyway, Wilder had to take Pugsley to school for a few times at 6 a.m. because that's when dolphin rodeo practice started before school. And so he said to me, God, that's early to have to be at school for practice. Rich didn't have to do that. Oh, God, I used his name. The boy didn't have to do that. Forget I said that. We'll edit it out and we'll clear it in post. The boy didn't have to do that. And I said, yes, he did. I was the one who got up and took him.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
There we go.
Mm-hmm. Like you ever knew.
And do I ever need to?
And it wasn't just for the dolphin rodeo, too. It was for origami as well. So.
Yep. And I will note this. If they were strong enough, they would will themselves to the school. That pure power of their will would take them there.
Yeah, but at least for Pugsley, they had enough time that they could come home, that he could come home and take a shower.
Mm-hmm. All right. And this is our final of the night. Think real fast. Hungary says, nay, Ukraine can't play and become a member of the EU. Mark, is this where the phrase Crimea River comes from? Crimea River, because it's Ukraine.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Oh, wait,
that is terrible.
The missus, does this mean that if Ukraine wants unanimous consent, it'll just have to go somewhere else?
If they want unanimous consent, they'll just have to beat it out of the rest of us.
Yes, that's right.
Which is the way you should do it.
Well, I mean, here's sort of a problem that Ukraine may have painted themselves into as far as influencing the West is that, there's been so much propaganda about how well Ukraine's doing that I think that the urgency that they have tried to generate in the past, I don't think people are feeling it anymore. Even if they support Ukraine, I mean, they're not going to be feeling the urgency because everything they hear is that Ukraine is doing wonderful and Russia's getting its butt kicked.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also, we did 20 years of Iraq and Afghanistan. And I think it just, obviously it wore our troops out, but I think it just wore the nation out. We were so tired of it and so tired of the protests and the anti-war bullshit and all of that stuff. And now we're getting back into it with Ukraine. And I think people are just like, enough. Let's not do this again. We just got finished with this. And it was ugly the way it finished, and nobody was happy about that, except the Democrats who had to pretend like they were happy about it because they, oh no, 13 people getting killed? That's fine. Whatever.
Well, I mean, we're going to have to wind it down anyway because now we've got to get ready to invade Yemen. So.
Yeah, but there won't be any Texans involved, right? I mean, you think we're getting ready to invade Yemen, but it could be that You know, maybe all those HIMARS that we sent over to Ukraine just wouldn't land on Fort Worth.
What
Yeah.
HIMARS? Like we have any in storage? Come on. We gave them all to
Hey,
Ukraine.
I can sell you some HIMARS for only $29.99. This is a joke.
Well, I mean, what they're sending the old stock over to Ukraine so it can be used up, and then they've got an excuse to buy new stuff and
But we don't have any new
basically
stuff, and
do a
nobody's
big.
making it because we haven't ordered it.
You don't understand. Missiles are for having, not for shooting. You shoot missile, you don't have anymore.
Yeah.
You have missile, you don't shoot. Silly American. And really, that's the problem with our military industrial complex right now. I don't want to get too deeply into this, but the idea is you build these missile systems to have, not to use. I mean, we build these planes that cost $1 billion a piece. Why? You can't send it into combat against anybody who could shoot
It's
it
too
down.
fragile.
It's too, yes. And so, I mean, and if we ever got into a war with China or Russia, the first thing we do is pull all of our aircraft carriers back home because, by God, those things are how many $1 billion do they cost?
Expensive, yeah.
Because they're too expensive to lose. We make weapons.
Yeah, I know. An aircraft carrier is that's almost like two B-1 or B-2 bombers.
We make weapon systems to have weapon systems, not to use weapon systems, unless you're gonna, unless you're gonna beat on like a 12-year-old. Sorry, I get a little. This is one that's got me. I'm a little. I don't wound up is not the right word for it, but it's silly. But by golly, you know what? I've got to say, this was one of our best shows ever.
Hey, before you get done here, I do have a story because you didn't cover it, but I thought I heard about this morning and then I looked it up.
Okay.
So this happened in Kansas City, and it's a Chiefs fan over the weekend having a big party, invites some of his friends over for the party. They all watch the football game. 3 of his friends go out the back door and
die.
never came back in. They just died in his backyard.
Yeah, what's up with that?
And they were laying there, 2 in the yard, 1 on the deck behind his house, and he didn't notice for 2 days.
2 days, because he was asleep for 2 days.
Well, so here's the weird part of the story, right? So one of the friends, because people were looking for him, right? There were posts on Facebook. They had texted this guy because they knew at his house. He never answered the texts.
He's asleep.
Right. But then a friend and his fiancée go over to his house, and the guy pounds on his door. The girl says for like 20 minutes. He pounds on the guy's front door. No answer. So the girl breaks a window and sticks her head in and says, "Hey, I'm coming into your house." Goes in through the window. She's the one who finds the bodies in the backyard. The guy, nowhere to be found. So she comes back out of the house. They call the police because there are dead bodies there, right? Police show up and just knock on the guy's door like a cop would, right? Guy comes right out immediately. "What's going on, officer? What's up?" So, but the police in Kansas City say they're not investigating this as a homicide. They don't suspect foul play. And yet,
someone has unleashed
yeah.
the chupacabra. Yes, the ancient enemy of my people.
So.
Oh, no, it's a Wendigo. It's a Wendigo because the Chiefs, right? Chiefs fans, Wendigo. That's a Native American thing. It's a Wendigo.
That's it.
Solved. They didn't even have to pay me. It's a Wendigo.
I have heard the conspiracy theory that perhaps, because they were partying, they were obviously drinking, that the guy who owned the house had something with a little extra kick to it that they all took. And that's why he slept for 3 days and the other 2 guys went out and died in the cold. And so he can't say anything about that because if he does and he's the one who gave it to him and they died, then that's murder, right?
Why should you go to prison for a crime someone else noticed?
Exactly, someone else noticed. So
Yep.
I don't know. I don't think that story's quite over yet. So we'll see. But,
So that's your last story. Mark, you have anything before we close out this show?
I don't know. For some reason, just hearing that story reminded me of the closing scene to that Monty Python movie, The Meaning of Life. You know, their friends all die at the party, and the death points at the fish as being the cause, and they're going out, and one woman says to the other, "So I didn't even eat any of the fish."
Always look on the bright
Yeah, it's
side
wrong.
of life. I know it's wrong movie. All right. Well, on that note, I'd like to thank everyone for coming to this, maybe the best show we've ever done tonight.
It's certainly the best show of 2024 so far.
This is the best show we've done tonight, too.
Yeah.
It might be the best show we've ever done. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the New Republic. And let's take those New Republic bucks and, yeah. Well, anyway.
Okay,
I'm
wrap it up.
John. I'm John.
I'm Mark.
And I'm the missus. Y'all come back now, you hear?